Now, I've always wanted to do this. Steve Jobs used to say, and one more thing. And one more thing. This country's got some real serious problems. Putting people back to work is the very first one, and the numbers don't tell the whole story. We see 9% unemployment, 7% unemployment, and Maine is doing better than the rest of the country, but it's still pretty awful. They don't tell the true story of the impact on families, of people who've worked all their lives, who've supported their families all their lives, and suddenly are unable to do so. Putting people back to work. We've got a mountain of debt. We're burying our children in debt. I remember being here in Brunswick 10 years ago or so when we passed these tax cuts, and I talked to the fellow at one of the hardware stores, the clerk at the hardware store, and I said, "What do you think of these tax cuts?" He said, "We haven't done any tax cuts." I said, "What are you talking about? We just passed these big tax cuts." He says, "No, we haven't passed any tax cuts because they didn't cut spending. And if you pass a tax cut and don't cut spending, all you're really doing is passing the tax on to your kids." So we're building up a mountain of debt for our children and our grandchildren. And by the way, I don't want to depress you, but we're also building up a mountain of infrastructure debt, of crumbling bridges and roads and sewer systems. And that's a debt just like the debt, it's just the same as the dollars on the ledger. That's a debt they're going to have to pay too. So we've got that. Then we've got a health care system that's both unaffordable and inaccessible to millions of people. We've got an education system that's not really performing. We've got an energy system. This is an interesting insight. We've got an energy system. The whole infrastructure of energy in this country is built on the premise of $5 a barrel oil. In 1970, oil was $3.39 a barrel. And if you think about it, everything we have, our cars, the gas stations, the pipelines, everything is built on the premise of cheap fossil fuel, and yet now it's $100, barrel, what is it, $110 a barrel? $108 a barrel? I mean, and yet we still are trying to struggle along the same way. It's going to kill us, particularly in Maine. We're one of the most oil-dependent states in the United States. I don't know where the number is, but when it goes above, I don't know, $4.50, $5 a gallon, Maine's uninhabitable. A guy making $400 a week can't spend $200 filling up his truck. It just can't happen. So there's another problem. How am I doing? I'm depressing you. I don't mean to be. On top of everything else, we have to get ready for a global economy. The global economy is coming, whether we like it or not. I can stand out in Casco Bay and say, "Tide, don't come in." But it's going to come in. That's King Canute. The tide's going to come in, and the tide of the global economy is already coming in, and it's already taken its toll in Milo, Maine, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Wilton, Maine, and Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Huge challenge for our country. But as I was thinking about this, I was walking to church, and I was thinking, what are the issues? Healthcare, education, everything. And then I said, wait a minute. You can't fix any of these issues if the institutions that we have set up to solve these problems are themselves broken. You can't solve healthcare or energy or anything else if the institution, and in this case it's the United States Congress, just is locked and frozen. Our ability to solve the problems is totally circumscribed by the paralysis of our political system.